I was just a simple engineer stationed on the deep space research vessel Vanguard. My job, keep the ship running, fix things when they broke, and generally avoid getting tangled in the messes the science team tended to stir up. But that all changed the moment they walked in. I had just finished recalibrating the ship's oxygen scrubbers and was in my private quarters peeling off my grimy jumpsuit when the door whooshed open. Two identical figures stood in the doorway, their large, luminous eyes locking onto mine, their skin shimmered like liquid mercury, reflecting the dim lighting of my room, and they moved with an eerie synchronicity. They were the twin envoys from the Ralzeth, an enigmatic alien species we'd only recently made contact with, and now they were staring at my half-naked self with a mixture of curiosity and what I hoped wasn't judgment. Do you mind? I blurted, yanking my jumpsuit up with what little dignity I had left. Ever heard of knocking? One of the twins cocked its head. Knocking. Its voice was a perfect, harmonic blend of two tones layered atop one another like an eerie alien chorus. It's what polite people do before barging into someone's room, I grumbled, zipping up. What do you want? The other twin blinked slowly, stepping forward. We require your assistance. That was when I noticed something odd. Their usual perfect symmetry was off. One of them had a faint crack running along its otherwise smooth, reflective skin. What happened? I asked, instinct kicking in. We have been injured. I frowned. The Ralzeth were supposed to be near invulnerable, their bodies composed of some biometallic substance far beyond human understanding. If they could be hurt, that meant something bad was on board. Sit down, I instructed, motioning toward my cot. I grabbed my medkit, though I had no idea if human first aid would work on them. Start from the beginning. How did you get hurt? The twin with the crack hesitated. The other one spoke for it. There is an intruder on the ship. My stomach dropped. What kind of intruder? We do not know. It is unlike anything we have encountered. That was the last thing I wanted to hear. The hunt begins. Within minutes, I was suited up and armed. Well, as much as a ship's engineer could be. A plasma cutter was strapped to my hip, and I had my multi-tool in case I needed to override any security doors. The twins led me through the dimly lit corridors of the Vanguard, moving in eerie unison. This thing, I whispered, keeping my eyes peeled. It attacked you? It tried. That wasn't comforting. As we rounded a corner, I saw the first sign of trouble. Deep gashes in the reinforced walls, as if something with claws had torn through them with ease. A faint clicking sound echoed through the hall, sending a chill down my spine. The twins suddenly halted. It is close. Barely had time to react before the lights overhead flickered, and the air grew thick with something I couldn't name. A shape lunged from the shadows, a nightmarish form shifting and twisting as if it were made of living darkness. I barely dodged as it slashed at me with elongated, claw-like appendages. The twins reacted instantly, their bodies flowing like liquid metal as they moved in perfect synchronization, attempting to corral the creature. I raised my plasma cutter and fired. The searing energy hit the creature's side, causing it to screech in a way that made my skull vibrate, but instead of retreating, it changed. Its body absorbed the blast, its form shifting into something even more grotesque. Okay, that's new, I muttered. The twins didn't hesitate. They launched themselves at the creature, their metallic forms morphing into jagged, spear-like shapes. They struck, and the thing reeled, its shape flickering erratically, but it wasn't retreating. It was learning. I realized with horror what was happening. It's adapting! The twins hesitated for a fraction of a second, just enough time for the creature to lash out. A razor-sharp tendril struck the already injured twin, and a chunk of its shimmering body was ripped away. No! I grabbed the nearest emergency bulkhead control and slammed my fist against the override panel. The corridor behind the creature sealed shut, cutting off its escape route. It turned toward me, its shifting form reflecting my own terrified face. I braced myself. This was going to be messy. A desperate plan. The twin beside me spoke urgently. It must not reach the command deck. I nodded. Any bright ideas? The injured twin struggled to its feet. Containment. But it requires a lure. I knew what they were suggesting before they even said it. Oh, you've got to be kidding. Me! But there wasn't time to argue. I took off, sprinting down the corridor, baiting the monster. It shrieked and followed, its tendrils scraping along the walls. The twins moved in perfect tandem, sealing off sections of the ship behind us, forcing the creature into the one place where we had a chance. The airlock. The moment I crossed the threshold, I dove for cover. The creature skidded to a halt just inside, sensing the trap too late. The twins were already in motion, their forms merging to create a solid barrier across the exit. I slammed the emergency release. The outer door whooshed open. The vacuum of space took hold, and the creature let out a final, distorted screech before it was ripped away, flailing into the abyss. The twins held their ground, their liquid metal forms anchoring them in place as the airlock cycled shut. Silence. I collapsed against the wall, gasping for breath. Please, tell me, that's the last of those things. The twins exchanged a glance. Then, in eerie unison, they said, "We do not know. Aftermath." We spent the next several hours scanning the ship, ensuring there were no other intruders. The injured twin stabilized, though the damage it had taken left visible scars across its usually flawless body. Before they left my quarters, they turned to me. "You saved us." I let out a dry chuckle. "Well, you saved me first. Call it even." The uninjured twin tilted its head. "No, this is more." The other one nodded. "Our people do not form bonds easily, but today you have proven humanity is worthy." A chill ran down my spine. "Worthy of what?" They didn't answer. They simply turned and left, their forms shimmering as they disappeared down the corridor. I didn't sleep that night, not after what had happened. The ship's sensors confirmed the entity was gone, ejected into the void of space where it would hopefully remain forever. But something about the twins' final words stuck with me. Humanity is worthy. Worthy of what? I had worked with the Ral Zeth for months, but they had always been distant, observing, analyzing, never truly engaging. They were an ancient species, millennia ahead of us in technology, and yet something had changed after that battle. I had seen it in their eyes, and I had a feeling that whatever was coming next was bigger than me, a summons from the unknown. The next morning, I was summoned to the Vanguard's command deck. Captain Delaney, a hardened veteran with a gaze sharp enough to cut steel, sat at the head of the briefing table. I wasn't alone. The twins were there, standing as still as statues, their reflective bodies gleaming under the artificial lighting. Beside them was Dr. Patel, the ship's lead xenobiologist, her fingers nervously drumming on the table. "You mind telling me?" Delaney began, fixing me with a pointed stare. "Why the hell our guests are demanding a private meeting with you?" I blinked. "With Me? The captain nodded. They say you proved something last night, that you're the only one they'll trust with what happens next. I turned toward the twins. Would be great if someone clued me in. The twin, who had been injured, stepped forward. The crack in its form had faded, but a faint scar remained, a permanent mark of what we had survived. The entity you fought was a fragment, it said. A fragment? I repeated, heart sinking. Yes, the uninjured twin confirmed. One of many. The room went dead silent. Dr. Patel was the first to recover. You're saying there are more of those things? The twins moved in eerie unison. Many, and they are waking. The Ralzeth's secret. For the next hour, the twins explained everything. Eons ago, before humanity had even discovered fire, the Ralzeth waged war against an ancient enemy, a race of formless predators known as the Vorthan. These creatures were not biological in the way we understood. They evolved through combat, absorbing traits from their prey and growing stronger. With every battle, the Ralzeth barely survived. The only way to contain the Vorthan was to break them into fragments and imprison them across the stars, sealed away in forgotten places. The Vanguard, it turned out, had stumbled upon one such prison, and when we activated our scanners, we woke. Eared up, Captain Delaney pinched the bridge of her nose. You're telling me we just unleashed something that your people locked away for a reason? Yes, I sighed. Great. So what do we do about it? The twins turned to me, their glowing eyes locking onto mine. You must come with us. I blinked. Excuse me? They remained still. We require a human, one who has fought, one who has survived. I looked around the room waiting for someone, anyone, to protest. Instead, Delaney and Patel just stared at me. Finally, the captain exhaled. Hell. She leaned back in her chair. You volunteering for this, Shepard? I hesitated. I was an engineer, not a soldier. I wasn't trained for interstellar wars, and I sure as hell wasn't a hero. But I had seen that thing. I had fought it. And if more were waking up, I straightened my back and I'll go. Departure into the unknown. Preparations were swift. Within hours, I stood in the airlock, staring at the sleek, obsidian-hued vessel that the twins had arrived in. It pulsed with energy, its surface shifting like liquid metal. It was unlike anything human hands had ever built. I turned to Delaney. You sure you're okay with this? The captain folded her arms. Not even a little. Then, more softly, just don't get yourself killed, all right? Dr. Patel handed me a small data pad. This contains everything we know about the Vorthan. It's not much, but it's all we've got. I nodded. Thanks, Doc. The twins gestured toward the ship. It is time. I took one last look at the Vanguard, at the only home I had known for years, and then, without another word, I stepped aboard the alien vessel, the door sealed behind me. The ship hummed to life, and as we left human space behind, I realized that whatever came next, nothing would ever be the same again.